Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're talking about candidate sourcing strategies and tactics that you can use to improve your hiring.
These are really great basic strategies that even if you've been in the recruiting industry for a long time, it's great to get a refresher on these. So let's get into it.
Let's just start at the top. Focus on your employer brand. Nothing is more important than that to candidates who are considering whether you're an organization they'd want to come work for.
When someone is going to apply for a job at your company, what is the first thing they're going to do? They're going to Google you. They're going to look for reviews online. Your employer brand is huge. It is something that every candidate is going to look at. Your persona online, your presence online, whatever you call it, that is going to influence whether you're getting good candidates applying or you're getting mediocre candidates or no candidates at all.
When it comes to sourcing, by default, we think external candidates, but you should absolutely look at who you have on your team internally. Always start there.
Post your openings on your internal boards or let your internal team know about them, because you never know if somebody's been thinking about making a move or wanting to transfer departments or what have you. It's something that is often overlooked by employers. So make sure that you are not leaving your internal candidates out.
Hiring from within improves employee morale and boosts employee engagement, so you should definitely take advantage of your team.
You hit the nail on the head. It's really great for employee morale.
Every sourcing strategy should start with building a candidate persona. Establish the profile of your ideal candidate before you begin your search.
Make sure you know who you're looking for, what their likes, dislikes. Are they outgoing? Are they more of an introvert, heads down, just going to try and get their work done type of persona? All of those things come together to create a holistic picture that is going to really help you with both immediate openings and for pipelining for future candidates as well.
The next thing to consider are your candidate relationships throughout the hiring process. You have to stay in constant contact if you want candidates to stay interested and engaged with the position you're hiring for.
As we mentioned earlier, your employer brand is huge, and having a good back and forth, having good communication between your recruiters, your HR department, and your potential candidates, that's going to make you look good online. That's going to lead to great reviews, great experiences for the people that you hire. But it's also good because even if you don't hire a candidate today, you will be able to have that open communication, maybe reach out to them a month from now, 2 months from now, down the road, and you've still got somebody who is open to hearing back from you.
In other words, leverage a technology that you probably already have at your disposal. Use your ATS to its fullest capacity when it comes to messaging, and develop a strategy before you get into the weeds. It's hard to do these things in the moment. So, a lot of the things that we're talking about today involve planning. And like Peter said, don't just stay in contact with candidates in the moment when you have an immediate need. Use the software to stay in touch with them always. What's next?
Building an online community is huge. Using Facebook, using LinkedIn, all of these online platforms that have great group features, great page features, you can use those to spread your message far and wide.
And to complement that, be a resource for candidates. Share industry news, insight, and even behind the scenes information if you're willing to, so they really understand the process and they'll like you better. The more they know you, the more they'll like you.
This goes hand in hand with being a resource and having an online community, but make sure you're interacting with people. Don't just post things online and then ignore them. If you have an opening and you post a status that says, "Hey, I'm looking for this type of candidate with this background. If you know anyone, let me know." And then people comment on it and you aren't either liking their comments, responding to their comments, they're going to quickly realize that and it's going to die out. So make sure it's a back and forth, that you are interacting with the people that you are speaking to online.
And on that point, if you're not familiar with this, the social media platforms love engagement. That's what caused them to boost one post over another. So when you are responding to comments, your post will be seen by more people and that cycle will continue, which is a very good thing in the sourcing world.
So this is one that I know is near and dear to you, Pete. How do you feel about LinkedIn and LinkedIn Recruit?
LinkedIn is where recruiters live. We know that. We say that all the time. And there's so many tools to take advantage of. You don't have to have them, right? So, I mean, you get what you pay for. You don't need all the tools, but you should absolutely be leveraging LinkedIn. If you are paying for the tools, then use them. Take the time to study how they work, go dig into the details of LinkedIn training, and then you'll get the most out of them.
Speaking of LinkedIn, passive candidates, we got to mention that. That is something that any good recruiter is going to be targeting. Obviously, there's lots and lots of people who are active job seekers. They're on the job market, applying to jobs. But any good recruiter should be spending an equal amount of time focusing on those passive candidates who are gainfully employed. They're not really looking, but they might be open. And most people are going to take that message. They're willing to look, they're willing to see what you have to offer. So, spending a little bit of time focusing on candidates who are not actively on the job market is going to serve you really well.
Passive candidates are so important to a thorough recruiting process. You don't just want to talk to the candidates who are desperate for jobs. We all know that, but this takes effort. And like so many of the strategies and tactics we're talking about today, it takes planning in advance. Don't just make these decisions in the moment. Put a plan together for how you're going to target passive candidates over time so they'll be there when you need them. The next thing on the list, and it goes back to what we've talked about a little bit already with using the tools, whether it's your own internal applicant tracking system or things like LinkedIn, is leverage analytics. When you do something, you want to understand what impact it had. And going back and looking at reports and reading the data, that'll make a big difference in how you make decisions going forward.
You hit the nail on the head. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. That's what they always say. And that goes doubly for recruiting. So make sure you're utilizing all of your reports, all of your analytics. We live in the data age. So it's a really key step in the recruiting process.
And then that'll allow you to focus on what's working, and you can do more of that and less of the things that don't. It's common sense, but sometimes that's not always easy to draw from when you're in the moment of having to fill positions quickly.
I know we already talked about internal employees, but this is really important. Use your resources to turn employees into advocates for you. And when I mean by resources, when I'm speaking about referral type programs, anything that is going above and beyond to ask your active employees, maybe if they're not right for the position, do they know someone who's right? And give them an incentive to spread your company message outside of your walls.
Employee referral programs are a no-brainer, and the companies who figure out a great system for using them really get the benefit. Not every company has to have one. I mean, but even if you do something minor, maybe it's $100 gift card or half a day off on a Friday, it will motivate your employees to be on the lookout constantly for your next great hire.
Something that's often overlooked by a lot of recruiters is building partnerships with schools, universities, colleges, technical schools, what have you. All of these are institutions that have departments completely dedicated to getting their alumni jobs. And there is a huge population of students graduating who are looking for jobs.
College career centers pride themselves on doing a great job for their current students and their alumni. So take advantage of that. Like Peter said, build those relationships, not just with major universities, but vocational schools, technical colleges, community colleges. Sometimes you'll find that they crave business partnerships even more so than the big schools.
It might go without saying, but make sure you're revisiting past candidates, past finalists, interviewees, anybody that has been considered seriously for the role or a similar role by your company in the past. They might still be on the market, or they might know somebody else who's on the market. So reach out to them. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about earlier of maintaining that relationships with your candidates, open communication. If you do that, you never know who's going to come back around to you.
And along those lines, also stay in touch with your former employees. You never know who's changed their mind or their life situation has changed, where even if they left on their own choosing, they might want to come back. And so we know that change is a constant, and your former employees can hit the ground running if you have a need to bring them back.
Make sure that you are spending time focusing not just on the job you're working on now or the job you're going to be working on tomorrow, but the one next month or 3 months from now. All of those things are going to work to build a cohesive recruiting plan, and you'll have a great pipeline of candidates.
All right, Peter, I think we covered all the bases today. Candidate sourcing strategies and tactics that everyone can use. Leave a question in the comments, or you can always reach us at connect@fourcornerresources.com. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.